Okay, hi everyone and welcome. I'm Adam Beresin from MS Dynamics World. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us for today's event, Go Way Beyond Paperless, Integrate, Automate, and Accelerate Your Business. The session is going to be presented by Mary Miller and Sean Fitzgerald, both of ImageTag. Before we can get started, I just want to let you know that you could submit any questions you have during the session through the Q&A box on the right side of your screen, and Mary and Sean will try to get to all of them at the end of the event. So without further delay, Mary, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Adam. It's our pleasure to be part of the session today. And thanks, everybody, for taking a little bit of time out of your busy schedules to join us for this webinar today. So we are going to dive right into why you would want to and some of the costs of and the real benefits to your business of going way beyond paperless and learning some key tips and insights on integrating, automating, and accelerating your business using document management and process automation. My name is Mary Miller, as Adam mentioned, and I'm joined by my colleague, Sean Fitzgerald, and we will be sharing with you some insight and some research and then a full hands-on demonstration of some of the solutions that we can help you with to go paperless and automate and accelerate your business. So we're going to dive right into that. Why would you do anything in your business to go paperless? That's kind of the question that we get a lot, and not that people don't understand, the reasons of environmental and having a lot of paper to manage and just, that mantra of it's the old-fashioned way, right? Well, the reality is it's also very expensive to manage paper. I was just talking to a customer last week who gets 40 pallets of paper delivered to their business every single month. Add to that the fact that every piece of paper that comes into your business is often then printed, scanned, copied, shared, up to as many as 10 times per document within most organizations. That can add up very quickly, and so what typically happens is the cost of paper winds up being about 31 times the actual amount of money that you spent to purchase that paper. So food for thought in terms of considering why you might want to do something about getting rid of the paper in your organization. Now, another thing that we often get asked is, I have to build a business case. People are comfortable this way. They don't want to, change anything that they don't have to. We've got to go to our upper management. We've got to go to our department colleagues with some real raw numbers and support for why this is an important thing for our business to go paperless, to start this digital transformation, as it were. Well, here are some numbers that we find that customers often use in their business case and planning, because a lot of people don't take this into account, and certainly they don't have numbers or line items in their budget to accommodate for this information. So let's take a look at what this data suggests. Industry research suggests that 70% of businesses would fail within 3 weeks if they suffered a loss of paper due to fire, flood, or some other sort of natural disaster. And that's certainly, a compelling risk that a lot of people think, okay, well, that might not really apply to me because we have a bigger business or building, or we've got off-site storage and that sort of thing. Okay, well, that's certainly a fair statement, and many people do have those sorts of what we'll call retention policies. However, in many cases, accessing those records that are retained off-site and the cost of that storage also takes time and adds up very quickly for organizations. So let's transition to the top right then in terms of what that looks like from the human element. The human aspect is that people spend 30 to 40% of their time looking for information. This is particularly true for those high volume paper organizations or paper departments within your organization, say accounting, finance, HR, and the like. They spend a good part of their day looking around in file cabinets and storage boxes and even email and other sort of digital storage because they can't access the information at their fingertips that they're looking for to support their business process or to support their department. So now let's go to the lower left. 22% is the percent by which paper grows in the average business every year. Of course, if you're a larger organization, that number is going to be even higher, meaning that the paper, the physical amount of paper in your business is likely to double in about every 3 years or less if you're, again, a larger organization. So then you have all of those questions again of where am I going to store it? How am I going to access it? How easy is it going to be for people to put their fingers on when they need it? And then where the rubber meets the road is the number in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, and that is $125 is the cost of a misfiled document in a typical organization. And that's just if it's been misplaced, still sitting on someone's desk, or put in the wrong filing folder in the filing cabinet, or still waiting in the mailroom, or whatever, where it might be floating around the organization. If you have to go back to the source, consider this situation where accounting, for example, gets a phone call from a vendor that says, hey, what's the status of my payment? And the accounting person then says, well, I have no idea because I haven't gotten it. They now have to go spend that 30 to 40% of their time chasing that document back to the original source. They can't find it. The person was out of the office, went on vacation, whatever, it got misplaced. Now they have to go back to that vendor and say, hey, can you resend that to me because I don't have it, so-and-so didn't have it, it got misplaced. So the cost of replacing that document, if you have to go back to the source, goes up to about $350 to $400 per document. So consider the costs that paper are really adding up in your business, whether you're aware of them or not. So another reason to think about why going paperless, why transforming your business to digital. Okay, and let's face it, nobody wants this, right? We all remember that day from Office Space years ago of the boxes piling up, and God knows how he found anything. So what can we do about it? That's obviously what we're going to spend the majority of our time talking about today. We want to have a system in place, and I can tell you from both personal and professional experience, you could probably relate. Even if it's as simple as when the mail comes into your house every day, handling it in the same way every time reduces errors, reduces the chasing around of what do I do with this, where did it go, who had it last. Well, the same is true for your business. Having a system in place truly delivers the benefits of saving yourself significant time, energy, and money. And nothing is truer when that comes into play for the huge volume of documents that float through multiple departments and multiple businesses and multiple processes through your organization. So the benefits of having a system, just by turning it into an acronym, save yourself significant time, energy, and money. And what we're going to focus primarily today on is how you might do that with QuickTag. So QuickTag can be that one system throughout your organization that automates any business process. Well, what do we mean by that? The first step is typically to get rid of the paper, right? Make it digital from as early as possible in the business process as you can, whether that's asking your vendors to send you documents digitally or your partners, even your employees. Go digital from as early in the process as possible. So capture the documents digitally. And then, of course, the next logical step in that process is to integrate with as many systems in your organization that are already a part of your business. Again, reducing that change element, reducing that friction of people adopting new tools or systems. So as long as they integrate very nicely with the systems that you're already using, you're going to have one less hurdle to cross as you introduce a new solution to your organization. And then finally, automate. Wherever possible, you're going to gain that maximum efficiency from both time, energy, and money standpoint, but certainly reducing the risk for errors and lost documents, reducing those costs that we talked about initially that are really impacting your business with the paper that you might be managing today. So capture, integrate, and automate are the three steps that QuickTag enable you to do. And when you think about, we've talked about accounting as an example in kind of one of the heaviest hit areas of many businesses, and while that's true, the thing that people often find is that once they do that area of the business, they can look, down the hall, across the organization, to the next department, the next location. And Sean's going to share several examples of that with you during the demonstration, whether that's HR or legal or sales orders, lots of other areas of the business. If you're going to invest in a system, let's make sure that it's one that can apply in multiple areas of your business and isn't just a one kind of point solution product. So we'll take a look at automating multiple areas of your business once you get to that point of integrate and automate. And so from a simple perspective, the way that QuickTag is going to help you do that is by tagging and organizing documents so that you can easily find them, regardless of what system you're working with them in. And what Sean's going to demonstrate for you is exactly how that works. And we integrate directly, QuickTags integrates directly into Microsoft Dynamics ERP systems, including GP, SL, NAV, and AX from a document management standpoint. And we automate multiple business processes both in and out of those ERP systems. And at this point, I would like to pass the presentation then over to Sean, who's going to demonstrate exactly what that means and how that works, and give you several examples that you can start thinking about how going paperless and how going digital through your organization might bring some real benefits to your business and your business processes. Sean, it's all yours.
Okay, great. Mary, I haven't seen, sorry everyone, I haven't seen the, oh yeah, I got to grab controls, don't I? My apologies, everyone. There we go. Okay. There we go. Mary, you're seeing my screen now?
Yep, looks good. Thanks, Sean.
Great. So what I'm going to start with, guys, is, because we have people, on the call from various backgrounds. And what I mean by that is using various ERP solutions, right? And so, QuickTag integrates to all 4 of Microsoft's ERP solutions, so GP, AX, NAV, and SL. And just to give you a brief little quick view of what that looks like, I'm going to show you 4 different lists, one for each ERP system real quick, of what we call enabled forms. What does that mean? Well, for instance, this one here says Microsoft Dynamics GP forms enabled for QuickTag. Okay, so this is where we are enabled inside of Dynamics GP with QuickTag, and I'll show you what that looks like. But so we have 75 standard GP forms where if you're on any one of these across these 8 different modules, as you can see, 9 including binary stream, if you have that add-on, if you're on any one of these screens, you can utilize QuickTag to upload documents or search documents, and do other things that we do inside the ERP. So it's 75 forms with GP. That's what this all means. If I click over here, we'll take a look at our AX sheet. It's over 70 different AX forms. So again, through these different modules, AP, AR, and so on, GL, HR, and as you can see there. And of course, you can get these lists on our website. You can get them from us. Inside of NAV, we're at over 80 forms as well, a lot under general ledger, fixed assets, bank rec, and so on. So I just want you guys to get a taste and a quick view of how pervasive QuickTag is enabled across all ERP solutions, 35 here with SL. Okay, so that's kind of what we look like. That is exactly what we look like inside of all these different solutions. So, so what does that translate to? So if we look at it, how that looks in GP, let's go to one of those, 75 different forms. We'll go to the payable transaction entry screen. And where does QuickTag come alive inside of GP? Well, it's off the additional menu. So I hit the additional tab, and here we go. Tag documents, view documents, search, view workview. These are all QuickTag commands. And so it truly is an inline experience for the end user. Tag documents is our command for uploading a document. So if I want to upload a document to any of the 75 screens in GP, I click that tag document functionality, and this is going to be a common theme you're going to see here in the next few screens I show you. Is going to be this, what we call our tag dialog box, and whenever you get that dialog box, you're always able to browse out, find the document, double click, and upload it as needed. Okay, and then you can also leave it, if you have a paper document, you can then just click OK. It creates what we call a reservation, which is a holding place, and then you put our QuickTags, little tags, the stickers that we have, on page 1 of a document and scan it in later. And we sync it up and automatically upload it and attach it to the exact place inside your ERP system that you need it. That's what the tag does for you. So this tag is on this holding place inside the ERP on this specific record, and this same tag is on a little sticker on top of the piece of paper that you are trying to scan in. But that's only with paper. Again, if you don't have paper, you just browse out. You can drag and drop to this too. So if I can bring up another screen or my email inbox, I can grab the actual document or the email and just drag it right over on top of this dialog box, let it go, and it'll upload that way. You can browse out, drag and drop, or create reservations for paper. This is what it looks like inside of GP. And then let's look at some of the others, and bear with me as I bring these up here. So here's NAV, and I have the purchase invoice screen here in NAV. And again, you're going to find this right in line somewhere in one of the ribbons. I'm up here in the top left for NAV. I hit Tag Documents. There's that same tag dialog box, right? It functions exactly the same way. Add electronic files. I click on that. I browse out and upload. So they all pretty much work identically. We have another one here. We'll look at SL. You know, same thing. I have a voucher adjustment entry here in SL, and here you go on the right-hand side, tag. I can tag and upload documents that way. There's our little dialog box, so as you can see. And then I'll show you the last one for folks out there that are joining us from AX. And bear with me a second here. I'm going to click over to another solution here, and that's that. So here's the here we are in AX, and right here QuickTag is hanging over here on the far right of the ribbon. Hit tag, and again there's the box. You get it, right? All pretty much the same, but we just wanted to let you know we're pervasive, as you saw in my list, throughout all 4 ERPs, and then the functionality to at least capture and upload a document all works the same way. Now, I'm bouncing around between, you know, trying to make everybody happy that's on the call, obviously, and bouncing through some different ERPs. But clearly, to make this an efficient demo and to get through a path and not bounce around, it would be easiest if we pick one. So with all due respect to the other 3, I'm going to pick GP as the ERP system we'll show today in terms of showing some of our in ERP automation. But just know, again, we have connections to all 4 and can come up with creative document management solutions, whether that just be capturing documents or business process automation solutions, which is a fancy way of saying workflow, really, right? That's what you think of. I have a document that comes in, and I want to send it from me to you, to her, to him, right? It needs to travel through the organization for review, perhaps approval, some type of action needs to be taken on it. So those workflows we can create really for any document, for any process, and bring efficiency, not only even just inside of, you know, your accounting department or just AP or even just ERP related solutions, but QuickTag works outside of your ERP solution as well. So we love to create efficiencies everywhere across your entire organization, which, you know, speaks to the one system message that you heard from Mary, and certainly you'll find on our website. Okay, so let's just jump right into AP automation. That's the most common thing we get asked for, even though, as I just said, we can do lots of things in different places. You know, the most common thing that people come to us and say, hey, here's my problem with automation. I need workflow, and I need AP automation. I got too many invoices coming in. So that's the first process we're going to look at right now. And as I said, I've chosen GP as the ERP system of choice. So we're looking at our one of our professional clients, and this is our GP professional client. And I have a dashboard here clearly that shows me I have 11 documents in my work queue. This is my work queue. I have, you know, they're in 3 different phases, as you can see right there. Tag is step 1. So invoices came in, nothing's happened to it yet. I would have to click on that, go in, enter some information, and send it on its way. How did that get there? Well, it came from a vendor. So the vendor, you know, I can give this work queue has an email address assigned to it. So if I give that email address to my vendor, they will email that to me, and it'll drop right into my work queue. I don't have to upload or scan anything, right? The vendor essentially does it for me. So that's what tag's all about. Edit assignment means that it's gone through a process already, and I have to take some action on it. Now, that could be a document that I was in the tag phase originally. I filled out the information to send to somebody. They sent it back to me, probably with a comment. Hey, I think these GLs are wrong, or some other kind of comment, something for me to review. So I have an edit assignment. I have to take a look and see what that is. And then one of those is in the approval stage. Clearly, I'm the approver for that specific invoice, so I'd have to go in there and press approve. I'm going to click on edit, and what I'm going to choose is I'm going to show you what a document looks like that's gone through a zonal OCR process. What do I mean by that? Well, this is an optional tool, optional solution, optional functionality, however you want to call it, that you can add to the front end of QuickTag. And what zonal OCR does is it reads the document for you and does almost all, majority at least, of the data entry for you. Okay, so this document came in. If I look at one of these, they came in, and I choose. Look at this one right here. I think this is one that went through that OCR process. Yeah, so all I have to do is code it. So if I choose that, I'm going to come into my queue here, and I'll see that this information has all been filled out for me. Okay. So you got two options here. I can come in and this can be blank. We didn't use zonal OCR because we have a certain amount of documents every month that we don't think we need zonal OCR. It's an additional solution to configure. It's an additional solution. It's additional cost, of course. Some people opt for it. Some people don't. If I didn't have it, all these fields would be blank, and then I would be filling that information out, which is all really pretty easy because in this case, with GP, this is all connected to my actual GP system in real time, so I can look things up and fill things out very quickly, and if I'm a GP user, I know how to use this because it's laid out exactly like GP. So if this was blank, I'd fill it out real quick, but I put this one through zonal OCR, so it grabbed all the information off the document for me, right? And put it in there. The only thing it didn't do is the distributions, okay? So if I click on the distributions here, I want to apply the GLs, right, the account codes, and I know they're called slightly different things in different ERPs, but in GP, this is the cost categories, right? So if I want to apply those, I click the distributions menu, and there's some already applied. So what's that all about? Well, in GP, as you may know, you can define your GLs on the vendor card. So you can go to the vendor card and define a subset of the most common, they call them default account codes. If you do that, right, then we're going to have those right here and available for you. Okay, so I have those two right here. If I like them, great, I'll click OK. If I don't like them, or if I don't have them, because we don't define GLs in our system maybe, then I have this ability to look things up. Okay, and again, anytime you see these, it's always about scrolling through, which is a bit arduous, so you'll probably want to go ahead and filter, right? So I filter on computer software, if I spell it right, computer software, there we go, double click, and it drops in the third line item for me. And then any of these lines that you have in here, you can always reallocate, right? You can adjust the cost across the different account codes as needed. Okay. So the point is hey, QuickTag can read all the information for you. You come in here, all you have to do is apply the GLs in this instance. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and take the defaults. I'll click OK. It puts those in. It's coded. If I wanted to put some comments in down below, I could. Something to make this unique. Let's say I'll call this, let's see, Mary said to rush, right? We're in a big hurry, and I still can't type. There we go. Mary said to rush. I'm actually going to change this invoice number because I've used that before. This invoice over here I've used before, and it's going to give me an error if I do that. We do a duplicate check, so that's a good thing. I'm just going to put MDW for Microsoft Dynamics World with today's date, 10/26, and that'll be our doc number for this. So there we go. So it came in, it's filled out. Basically, I just applied the GLs, and I'm done. Okay. And so I'll hit now. One other thing I want to point out here for this client and with GP, look at this, right? I'm about to hit submit down here in the bottom next to the red X cancel submit. I'm going to hit submit, but right above that, look, save as template, kind of grayed out, might be tough to see. What's that all about? Well, if I click that box and hit submit, it'll say, all right, you want to save it as a template, name it. I'll call it Advanced Office Systems, and it'll process it and go forward. Next time I get an invoice in from Advanced Office Systems, I choose that template, right, if I want, and then even the distributions will be filled in for me as well as everything else. So templates are great whether you use Zonal OCR or not. So some people say, I might not need the extra cost of Zonal OCR. Let me just use templates because that's a standard product. Let me just use templates, which will fill all this information out for me also. So we can get into the nuances and the details later when we talk to you about what makes sense for you guys. But know that we got lots of different ways to come at this and make it efficient for you. I'm going to go ahead and hit submit, and it'll take this out of my queue and take me into the next one. Okay, so so that just routed now. So it came to my queue, to the person who had to do the GLs. I could have been the AP person. I might have been the department manager. I might have, who knows, right? We configure that to meet your specific needs. So where did that go? Well, this is a predefined workflow, meaning the rules of who that routes to are predefined, built in. And this actually goes to the CFO in my scenario. We could do one that's a little bit more user-defined. You'd have an additional field in there that would say approver. You'd click it. There'd be a drop-down list, and there you go. You can self-direct. So we can have it, auto-direct or self-direct, depending on how you want to do this. Okay. So let's go approve this. Really, I mean, we've just done step one. I've been talking a lot, but believe it or not, that's just step one. And all I really did was apply GLs, put some comments, and send it on its way. Okay. If I wasn't talking through this and explaining everything, we could have done that in about 15 seconds. It's super quick. All right. So let's take a look and see what the approval experience looks like in QuickTag. Okay. And I'm going to jump in here to our soon-to-be released HTML5 client and show you what that looks like. This is kind of, you're getting a little peek at QuickTag Next, if you will. It's what's coming out next. And we're really excited about this HTML5 client. And so this is going to be, now the approver can approve via email, of course. You probably saw that notification pop up. And we'll take a look at that too. But they can also approve right here via the QuickTag work queue, which really, heck, if I had this many to do at one time, right? This guy here, the CFO, has, it looks like, 14 different invoices to approve, maybe in one day. That takes a lot of time. So this is purpose-built to handle that very quickly. Look at the doc number. It's about the 5th column over. I'm going to go down here, and then we'll see MDW 1026. So that's the one that we just sent. So let's take a look at the image. I'll click the image icon there, and we'll get our invoice image that opens up. So that can persist. I can keep that open all the time. And then what I'll have the opportunity to do with this is to either, of course, approve it if I want to. I would click the approve and click approve, throw in some comments if I want. I can reject it if for some reason I need to reject it, or go back to the person that sent it to me with some information. If I'm interested in what are the GLs that's hidden, I can expose those so I can see the GLs. If I want to see the workflow audit trail on it, I can see that. Came in originally through Zonal OCR, and now it's sitting with me pending approval with Sean CFO, which is who I'm logged in as right now. So it'll always have an audit trail with it. And then if I want to go ahead and approve this, really very simple, like we already saw, just click approve. I won't even put any comments in. I'll just click the approve button. It'll take it out of my queue and serve up the next one. So I can just sit here and go, approve, approve, approve. Oh, wait a minute, what's that one all about? And dig into it if I want. That's kind of how this goes, right? I can reject with comments if I do have a question about it. So very easy. Now, HTML5 client is fully device responsive, which means that it formats to any device that you're logging into QuickTag with. So like me sitting here on my laptop at work on my computer, great. If I'm on my phone, it adapts to that. If I'm on a tablet, of some kind, whatever the device is, it responds to it, and then it's also touch responsive as well. So all of the green checkbox, the reject, all these buttons are touch. If you're on a touch screen, they're touch responsive. So that's great. So really, if you can, now QuickTag is a network solution that'll, I should say, a server-based solution that'll reside on your network. So if you have a mobile strategy internally at your company that allows users to connect their devices to the company network, then hey, you can get to QuickTag from anywhere, from any device. Okay, that's the good part there. So, real simple approval. Let's take a look at what the email approval. Everybody always wants to know, hey, do you have email approval? Of course we do. And so that's what this looks like. If I don't want to log in, but I want to do it via email, I can see that got real big real quick. And so I can see the invoice, $1,500 right there, and then all the information on it down the center, as much or as little as you'd like there, and then the ability to approve or reject. I just click the button, approve or reject, and I'm done. And it approves that way. Okay? We've already approved it, so I won't do that. But very easy to do this all via email as well. Okay? So what happens then? Well, we're going to push it into the ERP solution. In this case, as we keep saying, GP. So we're going to go here to the additional menu again. We're going to take a look at the work queue. So I'll open up my work queue here in GP, and I'll see all of my approved invoices that are sitting there waiting for me, right? And here's ours. You can see doc number MDW 1026. That's ours. Mary said to rush. Our comments even in there. And so we're good to go. So these aren't in the ERP yet. They're not in GP. They're about to be. I'm going to assign them to a payables batch. If I'm curious and I have some more questions about this and I want to look at some things, I can go ahead and say, show me the details of this. I can hit show details, and that'll expand that. And I can see all the details on it. And then, there we go, I hit a button wrong. So I can see the details on it. If I want to actually view the document, I can. I already showed you that, didn't I? Yep. So I can even view the document right inside there. And then if I want to go ahead and approve this, and I can approve this one, or not approve, excuse me, I can push these into GP, right? I can do one or multiple documents at a time. If I determine that, hey, there's all kinds of these docs, they're all going to go to the same batch, I can grab as many as I possibly need to, 50, 100, 200, no limit, right? However many at one time that you need to. And then I'll hit create. Again, in this case, it's asking me to assign it to a batch. I'll choose the SAF batch. I'll hit yes, and you'll see this disappear and pushed into GP. So we're done, and that's the payable. Your payables process takes over. But let's go ahead and take a look at that one. Bring that up, and I'll show you what the finished product looks like. It's going to be, went past it there. It's going to be this one. So we'll open that up, and there we go. So you can see our doc number, MDW, so that's the one we've been working with. Brought it in, gave it a voucher number, vendor ID, right batch, $1,500. GL distributions are all brought in, of course, and then forever and always, if I want to see the document, I can view it right here inside the, right inside of GP. Okay, so very easy to view that right internally and to get that through. Now this invoice will always and forever be attached right there to this transaction. Okay. So AP automation, that's just one way that this is how we do it. With SL, it's very similar. With AX and NAV, it's a little bit different, but we don't have time to go into all those nuances. Every ERP system's a little different, and so whichever one you're on, we can create a solution for sure. So that's invoices that we wanted to go through. Now we also want to show you, I want to show you another AP solution, or another automation solution, I should say, and that would be with expenses. Forgot it for a second there. So I just showed you our invoice solution. We call that Quick Payables for vendor invoices, right? What I want to show you now is Quick Expense for employee expense management. So if you're not using anything internally yet for employee expense management, this is a great solution. that we have with QuickTag, and it's really very similar. And instead of gathering invoices, of course, we're gathering receipts, obviously, and as an employee, I would have my own individual work queue. So you can see I'm logged in top right-hand corner, tiny little print. You can see Sean. So I'm logged in as Sean, the employee, and this is my work queue. And I filtered through all the stuff I have in there because I just want to look at receipts. So clearly, I got a point of sale receipt, took a picture of it with my phone, as you can tell, and just emailed it right in. Right? I mean, literally, guys, we use this, of course. I'm on the road. You know, we were at Summit a couple weeks ago in Nashville, and you know, we used it constantly all the time. I mean, you get in line at Starbucks, they hand you the receipt. You know, I snap a photo of it, attach it to my email, send it in, throw it away, well before they even start making my drink, practically, let alone hand it to me. So I don't have to worry about, you know, holding on to all those receipts. I mean, that's just the way it works. Anybody that emails me a receipt, I can forward right into my work queue as well. And just, you know, so over time, I'm just accumulating these receipts in my own personal work queue. Okay, and then what I do is I come in here when I get a receipt, and much like, you know, you might enter some information and code an invoice, the individual has to tell you, you know, is going to, you know, put some information in here about the receipt. Now, this is a demo environment, so don't get too intimidated and say, gosh, look at all the information I got to enter. No, that's not the case. We've just put a bunch of fields in there to get you guys thinking about what's possible. And so there's all kinds of fields of information that we could, you know, tag to this individual receipt. Maybe it's an event. Maybe I want to put all this around Summit, right? Because it happened with that event, or it's a client event. You want to cost it to a specific marketing or client event. You might need the client name. Attendees. Maybe it was a lunch or dinner that you took clients out to, and you want to, you know, put who was on it, or even other employees. On behalf of, this is cool. This is, hey, this is the idea that someone's doing this for someone else, perhaps a admin assistant doing this for their boss, right? So I'm doing this on behalf of my boss. And then so on. So we can have a lot, or we can just reduce it and make it real simple, which is really how we use it internally. When I do this, I only enter, I think, 3 pieces of information, then, you know, like just the amount, and make sure the date of the receipt's accurate, and then I give it an expense type. And that's about it, right? And expense types can be, now when we do it here internally, you know, they expose the GLs to us, and I actually pick a GL. But a lot of times people tell us, hey, my employees don't know GLs. They know that it's a travel expense. It's an Uber receipt. This is related to travel. Or if it's a, you know, if it's a meal, you know, they know what it's related to, you know, generically. And so we'll just put that there. So then behind the scenes, what will happen is, hey, I know this is Sean, sales and marketing, travel, and we'll resolve to the actual GL for them. Okay, and so we can make it real simple. Reimbursement, you may or may not, you may want to do, if this is we can do both reimbursable, or if it's to a corporate credit card, we can do that. Maybe it's billable to a client or not. Again, none of these are just how we happen to have this one built. Orange fields, if you make them required, they're in orange. That's all that is. And put the line amount in. So I would go through and code this as quickly and simply as possible, hit submit, and I'll do that for my 5 receipts, right? When that's all done, I'll run my report, and we do that based off whatever parameter that you want. Any of that indexed information that we grabbed, we can run a report on. So maybe you do want to, you know, cost everything to a specific event, and you don't have a GL code for it. So, you know, just put the event name in here, and then I'll run my report for the event. Right? We want to know how much money we spent at Summit on travel expenses, something like that. So you can code it and run it however you want. We do it just by date. I'll be honest with you. That's the only thing we ever really you know, put parameters on for our expense report. It's usually from the 28th of the previous month to the 28th of this month, and we run the report, and it creates the report for us. So what's that look like? Let's take a look and see what the created report looks like. So now I'm jumping over to a queue. So I'm not gonna take you through running a report and all that, just to save some time here. But if you look in the top right-hand corner, I'm logged in as Sean, Department Manager. Okay. So if we look at our, clean this up a little bit again, and look at just our expense reports in process, and I've already chosen one clearly, and so I have this expense report in process. Okay. And so my manager would get one here. In fact, we got a couple ways to look at this. I like this Approver Central look a little bit better than the work queue. It's same thing in both places, but a little different view. I meant to click on that. So let's look at it from Approval Central. And so expose the report here. And so there, it just compiles into a simple Excel spreadsheet like you would probably build if you didn't have a solution, but we build this one for you. So the manager can see the report. He sees here top level, that it's $1,139.38. So he gets the top level information on it. And then he can, of course, approve or reject the entire report. But what's the power here is that we can dig into the details, right, and see what's going on at the line item level as well. So I'm going to see that receipt. So there they are. So you can dig in and see the specific receipts. And then as you also notice, we have receipt line approval or rejection. So let's say I'm fine with 4 of these, but I don't like the 5th one, right? I reject it, and it removes it from the expense report and pushes the expense report on in the process, okay? So once the manager would then just finally approve this whole report, we would push this, at least in the way that we do this with GP, is that we push this into GP and either make it a payable to the corporate card vendor, in my example, American Express, or if it's a reimbursable expense report, then it's reimbursable, obviously, to the employee, typically as a vendor is how most people set that up. So real easy to accumulate your documents. Again, I'm just taking pictures usually or forwarding via email, either way, into my work queue, run a report, the way I do it is the day they're due, run the report, and my manager gets it, approves it, and it goes on into the accounting system. Really simple. So expense management, and then let me give you a taste too of what things look like outside of QuickTag. We told you you could come up with solutions, outside of the ERP is what I meant to say. So let's say you wanted to do something with employees, okay, human resources, okay, and you're not, basically the question I ask folks is, hey, if you walk into the HR department right now, are there filing cabinets with everybody's, employee file in it? And if the answer is yes, then you have paper in HR, right? And I'm going to take you through HR because it's what I have in my demo environment. It's also simple. We all get it. But think about your company and where this might apply. It might not be HR. Maybe you're already using something there, but it might be in legal, IT, people to deal with contracts. Maybe you're in a company where guys are out in the field doing jobs, right? And there's 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 documents around one job, right? Another way to think of this is imagine about your company for a minute and think about the manila file folders that are floating around your company. Why do they exist? What's in them? We can digitize those manila file folders and make them cases. Okay, and that's what I'm about to show you. I'm about to show you a solution for what we call case management. Again, I'll use HR, but imagine with me and figure out where you might use this in your organization. So what I have here is I have a set of drawers, and a drawer is just what we call, in QuickTag, a document always lives in a drawer somewhere. Okay, and so I've uploaded some documents already for us, and as you can see, Sean Fitzgerald has a document here. This is our application for employment drawer, right? And so a lot of employees have documents here. Benefit information, I believe I have one there. Yep, I have we open this document, there we go. I have a benefits enrollment form for Sean already too. If I go into the personnel finance drawer, Sean, we uploaded a document here for Sean, and I think it's a W-4. There you go, yep, W-4. So I got a few documents in here, and so really easy to upload documents to a specific drawer. I'll show you in a second. But in fact, let's just go ahead and put, let's see, what else I want to put in. Maybe I got in trouble. Disciplinary actions. Let's go ahead and tag a document to that drawer, okay? Tagging is just our vernacular for uploading a document. And what is this? This is going to be a, well, I don't want to do termination. I don't want to get in that much trouble. Let's do an employee formal warning. So maybe a stage 2. So somebody got in trouble. We're going to put this document in, and and now I could type in the information, right? I could put in employee ID, first name, last name, and so on. But because I do that all the time, because these are, an employee ID is in employee documents, I'm repetitively putting these in there. I don't want to have to type all that every time. So with this, the way we've done it is we've put that information in a pick list, right? And it's going to be a big list, so we'll filter to it, Sean. Double click, and it drops his information in for me. There's my employee ID, first name, last name, and I've put everything in. And then if I want to upload the document, I click the upload button right there, and I browse out to wherever it is. Now, I actually don't know if I have a disciplinary form. I haven't picked one of those before. We're going to just go ahead and put in a, let's just do this. Let's just put in a, we'll just grab a document here. Sorry, guys, I didn't set this up. I didn't think about getting in trouble. So we'll go ahead and just put that document and hit submit, and that'll add, we already had 3 documents in the system for Sean. That'll add a 4th document here, an employee formal warning. So that, I just wanted you to see how you easily get documents into a drawer, okay? Now, by the way, if this drawer was connected to your ERP solution, you could upload the document through the ERP solution like we looked at in the very beginning, and it would also be in this drawer and also be here in QuickTag. Okay. So, well, I'm going to click on cases now across the top. I'm going to click My Cases, and we're going to come in here, and I got lots of different cases. We're looking at current employee files. So there we go. And all my employee files open up, and we'll pretend that we have so many we can't possibly scroll through them, so we'll filter. There's Sean. Click on Sean, and now my case opens up. What is my case? Well, a case is, again, think of that manila file folder with all that information around one thing, one attribute, one project, one job, in this case, one employee. So this case was configured based off of employee ID. So any document I have in QuickTag with the employee ID for S. Fitzgerald 001 is going to be visible here in the case. Okay, so here's my application form. There's my W-4 right there. My medical dental enrollment form as well. And then here's the employee warning that we just put in, right? Employee formal warning, which isn't. I think it's going to be an invoice because I couldn't find a formal warning, but you get the point, right? So you can add, as you add these documents to different drawers, whether straight to the drawer like I did or through the ERP solution, they can also then be added to a case if you have a case configured for these. And case management software comes along with the actual original solution. The configuration to build the case takes additional services from us, but the software comes along with it. So now that's capture, but again, any one of these documents could have gone through a workflow process as well. Maybe for some reason one of these, my application as an example, right, needed to route from from me to you to her to him, right, and then people needed to review and comment before it finally landed in my application for employment drawer. But I could have it visible in the case also while it's going through workflow, so if I open up the case, I could see it. So lots of different ways. It's about capture, it's about workflow, and then it's about case management potentially if you need it. Associating documents is what case management does. So I'm going to turn it back over to Mary in a couple, just about 60 seconds, Mary. That's your heads up warning. But I was going to tell you one quick use case of somebody that pulled all this together like I just showed you. We had a company, it was a logistics company, and they had to keep truck drivers on the road to keep everything moving. That's what they did. And they had to have about 3,000 independent contractors were these guys, these truck drivers, people, and they had to have about 3,000 going at any one time. They had 48 locations across the U.S., moving lots of stuff. Had about a 50% turnover rate annually in that amongst these independent contractors. So do the math and you'll find out they were onboarding anywhere between 60, 70, sometimes 80 independent contractors in any given month. Now, it's a highly regulated type of job, as you can imagine, all the background check, licensing, insurance, background checks, drug tests, and those documents that are required for before a guy can go to work are different state to state. Some had 20, 22 documents. The highest amongst their states was, I think, about 40 documents that an individual contractor had to have on file with this company before they could put them to work. And for this company, that was life, right? Getting guys, that's how they kept their engines running, literally and figuratively, was to have enough guys out there working. So onboarding a new independent contractor with 38 documents, some of which also need to not only be captured and approved and put in, but routed for review and approval. Imagine the paperwork. Just, I mean, think about that, right? And the regional managers that were doing this would meet these guys at truck stops or gas stations or restaurants, right? And it was very hard to capture documents. And anyway, it was a mess and cost a lot of inefficiencies, and business could only move as fast as that process. Well, we put in document capture, we put in workflow, and we put in case management for them, and they flew through the process. Now, they got rid of 24 filing cabinets, and I'm talking about the 4-drawer high lateral filing cabinets. So freed up a ton of space, obviously cost around buying additional cabinets. But the biggest gain was the efficiency gain in the processing of new employees, independent contractors. So a great gain like that. I love that story because it's some people come to us just for one thing or two things, but that organization, that company, put together kind of all the sweet sauces, if you will, with QuickTag of capture, workflow, and case management, and came up with an incredible solution. So that's about all for my time today. I'm going to pass this back over to Mary Miller and let her continue on with things. And Mary, here we go. Right back to you.
Awesome. Thanks, John. And what I love about the story, the example that you just shared with the independent contractors is, and we, as you know, we hear from them even today with, other things that they look to do within their organization. But with that particular use case, they did the measurement of, the before and after picture of how much time and money they were spending on routing, meeting up with the truck drivers and looking for these documents and getting it all in. And they actually came up with a metric that not only did enable them to centralize that process and give everybody access to all of the documents, but it also let them put their general managers back to, to doing their real work, their day jobs, as it were. And they regained, they have the math on this, they regained 30 to 40% of their time. Shocking that, that also happens to match with the number that we have that's, based in research. I hope you all are paying attention. There's going to be a quiz at the end on that. Just kidding. But the whole idea there is that they knew that their general managers were wasting time, and they did the math. They put together the solution that you just described, Sean, and at the end of that, they were able to come back and say, we now have recognizable efficiencies that our people can now do their job as opposed to, meeting people at truck stops. So not exactly what they thought they were getting into. I'm going to fly through these next few screens because you've covered a lot of it, Sean, already in terms of the way that we directly integrate with the ERP systems. So just for those of you on the phone, know that when we show you, Sean showed you the tagging and viewing feature within GP and SL and NAV and AX and the way that we attach documents within each one of those ERP systems. But one point I want to highlight here, you've seen the box, you know what it looks like, you've seen the examples of the screens where we attach very, very deep within each of those Dynamics ERP systems. But one thing I want to highlight is that while we show you the tagging and viewing and we'll call it attachment to those transactions in the ERP systems, those documents actually live in QuickTag. We have a very light, it's not, hard to find, I'll call it even, technical footprint. While we are making the association for those documents to those transactions, those documents live in QuickTag. They're not going to slow down your system. They're not going to bog down your resources. They're not going to take up any space in your database. They are entirely residing in QuickTag. It's through our connector and our deep integration with those systems that make those documents available to you within those systems. So while we are attaching to all of those different forms and screens, the documents and their structure and their metadata all live in QuickTag. Well, another benefit of that is, as I'm showing you now, this navigation screen which is an example of what Sean showed you in our new QuickTag Anywhere client, is the findability. I don't know if that's really a word, but we hear it a lot from our clients, because what happens when we pull all of those documents into QuickTag, even if you don't use the zonal OCR solution that Sean described, QuickTag is OCRing the content of every one of those files. So even if it wasn't a metadata field, even if it wasn't something that you put into a comment, we are looking at 100% of the content in the documents that come into QuickTag so that you can easily find them. Now, this is a screenshot, of course, of a quick search that I did within the system so that you can see a document that had, and I've highlighted the word Beaumont. In this case, it actually happens to be a field that was metadata specific, but I could have chosen the line item and the part number on this invoice, and you would have gotten the same result. So the value of finding documents when you need it is just as important as being able to get the documents into the system very easily and attaching them where they need to live within the ERP system as well. And think about that, what that does from a visibility and control standpoint. As Sean shared with you, the accounts payable process, the expense management process, human resources and case management, and also independent contractors in the example that he shared, there are countless others: sales orders, legal, vendor management. You can fill in the blanks in your organization. All of these systems have documents. All of these processes have documents that need to live somewhere that people need to be able to find. And there's nothing greater than that frustration and stress that the person who's responsible for finding that document has than when they get that phone call and can't find it or don't have access. So the visibility and control, and let's be honest, it's a peace of mind thing that comes along with the visibility and control that people now have access to the documents that they need to do their job. So gaining access to the documents that are living within the QuickTag system, regardless of how they get tagged or captured or integrated in your organization, provides a huge amount of visibility and control and frankly, less stress for companies that are faced with those challenges. And if you're like any of the companies that you see on the screen right now, whether they're in your industry or not, or larger or smaller than you, what we like to make the point is of sharing the QuickTag family photo, as it were, is that there's companies of all shapes and sizes and industries represented here. But the one thing they have in common, and maybe you can relate, is that paper problem that we started the conversation with around the cost and the time and the inefficiency, and as Sean just described, the filing cabinets that live outside of HR or legal or sales or whatever other accounting department perhaps. If they have the paper problem, chances are you can relate to that scenario. So all shapes and sizes and industries, but dealing with paper is something that they all need to do. So a quick few points about why you might choose to work with image tags using the QuickTag solution for that as well. We've been doing this for 20 years. We've got a strong history as a Microsoft development partner, and we were the first actually to integrate with the Microsoft Dynamics ERP systems, and certainly we're the deepest with the integration at the depth of the levels of 72 and 80 and such forms that Sean shared with you. And there's 120,000 business users using the system around the globe, so when you need a reference or an example, whether in your industry or area, we're happy to be able to provide that as well. And certainly one thing that customers truly love is that we're 100% U.S.-based support. Our team that you're going to call into or email into is right here in Tempe, Arizona, which, by the way, is a great place to visit if you're interested in training right about this time of year. Now, again, we can't cover all of the information because we are running out of time coming to the top of the hour here, but so you weren't able to see everything in the demonstration, but just know that we also integrate very tightly with these other technology partners such as Binary Stream and Key to Act and the like. So we shared a few examples with business processes that we typically see in terms of automation: AP, expense management. We talked about onboarding of independent contractors. Certainly you can see there's others here that we work with very easily: inventory, forms automation, sales orders. But the reality is that you want to think about that one system that can truly be the enterprise-wide document management and process automation solution that your business can go to for these or other workflows in your organization. And so the QuickTag advantage is that there's something in it for everyone. There are ways that we go very deep within the ERP systems. There's how we help your management team in supporting building the business case. Certainly we're represented across multiple industries. Our support I've talked about. And you can, certainly work with us on putting together a customized demo for your organization. Here's some ways that you can stay in touch with us. Certainly you can find us on all of the social media channels. You can visit us at QuickTag.com, and you can reach out to Sean and me directly for any questions. And if you'd like to see how this would work in your organization, we'd be happy to have that conversation. Adam, I know we're coming up to the top of the hour here, but I'll pass it back to you in case we have time to address a quick question or two.
Okay. Great. Thanks, Mary, and thanks, Sean. So we do actually have a lot of questions that came in during the event. So I'm going to go through and I'll read them. Mary, and you and Sean can decide which one of you gets to answer them. So the first question, someone's asking, what is the accuracy rate for the OCR scanning?
Yeah, Mary, I can take that. Kind of a long-winded answer. I'll try and be brief with it. And the reason it's nuanced is that QuickTag is going to be able to, through the zonal OCR solution, is going to be able to read all the invoices as they come in. It's going to make an attempt, I should say, to read the invoices right away, cold, without ever seeing it before. And typically what happens is that it doesn't read it 100% the first time. I'm not going to promise that. No one should promise you that with zonal OCR. But it'll get some things wrong, and it'll identify them as low confidence characters. Is it an O or a 0? Is it an I or a 1? Things like that that it can't quite figure out. And you'll make those corrections, and the next time it'll get smarter and get better. And the next time that it comes in, it might get one more wrong or two more wrong, right? But the third time it comes in, you're probably going to see about 100% read rate on that. So my point is, I don't want to overpromise on this. And I hope you don't hear that from other OCR vendors, but OCR takes a little time to massage and get right. Now, what you will find too is that some of those more complex or complicated invoice formats, you'll consistently get errors, and it won't learn to read them on its own. And that's when you stop and go in and create a definition. Some people call them templates for a specific vendor invoice. Once you've created a definition, the read rate is nearly 100% going forward. But we don't want you to have to read to make definitions for them all, right? We want the system to learn and do a lot of it on its own for you. So that's the shortest, long-winded answer I can give for that.
All right, let's see some other questions here. So someone's saying you provided stats for larger companies. Do you have similar stats for small businesses? More importantly, why would a small business go paperless?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's a good question. The answer is that yes, we have stats and data and probably more research than you'll have time to read. Happy to share that information with you. Just reach out to us directly. Our emails, I apologize that I didn't put them on the screen. Sean's is sfitzgerald@imagetag.com. Mine is mmiller@imagetag.com. However, the real evaluation that you'll need to do in that is looking at the number of documents and the amount of time that you're handling those documents in today. So this is part of what we would do an assessment with you. We would scope out your process. We would do an evaluation of where and how those documents live, how are they accessed, and what do you need from them for a future? Do you deal with audits? Sometimes the fact that a business has an audit that they have to go through once or more times a year for compliance reasons or financial reasons or any other reason is enough of a business benefit to have a document management system in place. Sometimes people need to have an audit trail, so that requires some level of workflow history and audit trail being visible and available to them. So there are a lot of different reasons. Certainly it's something that we would explore on an individual, case-by-case basis. But if you're looking to build a business case, certainly we can work with you on that. Feel free to reach out to us, and we'd be happy to do it.
All right, let's see here. Someone's asking, do you have an expense module approval, PO requisition integration, purchase order approval?
Yes and no. So we are not a purchase requisition solution. We are not that. However, if you utilize purchase orders in your organization and you have those invoices, we do have an invoice solution for PO invoices. I didn't show that. I think the question goes to the fact that my workflow solution that I showed was a non-PO invoice inside of GP. Yes, we do have PO invoice solutions as well.
And just a quick thought to add to that is we work very well with other vendors who do handle that, the PO rec and PO creation process very well. So there's certainly other players in the industry that handle that part very elegantly, and we integrate with them as well. In the interest of time, I think we should wrap up today. If we didn't get to all of your questions, Adam will send them to Sean and me. We will do our best to get back to you within the next couple of days. Certainly we can send those responses via email, or if you would like to reach out and schedule a specific demo or have any other questions, feel free to contact us directly. Thanks for your time today. Sean, any closing words for the group?
No, again, thanks everybody. Appreciate it, and we look forward to hopefully hearing from you in the future.
All right, thanks. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.